You are listening to a rebroadcast of the Rainbow Flower Power Hour with Rebecca Doll. Catch me live Tuesdays at 6 p.m. right here on KZSM, Community Supported Radio in San Marcos, Texas.
Don't come so easily to me. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. Somehow I get along. Sometimes I'm mistaken, and believe me, I am aching from the times I'm wrong within my song. But every time you're near, the words come out so neat and clear, and you make some changes in me. Let me tell you what I see. Changes in me. I know that you're not perfect, and I don't expect that kind of scene. You know just what I mean. I know sometimes you're walking and you're talking, you seem to get off the track. You most always get right back. It's only when you doubt yourself that you get misplaced on your shelf. Just make your changes and see. You make some changes in me. You got the power and the reason for the rhyme, so lay it down, I'll pick it up, and I'll put it in my mind. Sometimes words don't make it, so I'll play. So now I've sung my song to you, I hope you interpret it true. Sometimes I fall along the way, but the night always turns to day. You sing your song, I'll sing mine, and if they intertwine, it's mighty good. If they don't, it's understood, it's understood. You make some changes in me. Let me tell you what I see. Changes in me. Yeah. You got the power and the reason for the rhyme, so lay it down, I'll pick it up, and I'll put it in my mind.
Good evening, you all. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Rainbow Flower Power Hour. I am Rebecca Doll, and you are listening to KZSM worldwide from our studio in beautiful downtown San Marcos, Texas. I'm so excited about the show today. I have two wonderful gentlemen here with me. One is an original member of the association, and another is the seventh member of the association. And with that, Jules, let me turn your mic on. So I want you to tell us, Jules, about that song. Tell us about Changes.
That song, well, that was a real early song. I wrote that a long time ago. It was a play on a set of chords that Ruth Ann Friedman showed me. Ruth Ann Friedman wrote Windy. And at the time, we all lived, Ruth Ann and 3 or 4 of the guys in the association, all lived in a big rock and roll house, okay, on Ardmore Avenue in Los Angeles, called the house the Aardvark. And Ruth Ann was playing this tune. I said, God, those are good changes. And she showed them to me. And that's just where it came from, just from a set of changes.
Oh, so that's where the name came from.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. It's a good tune.
Yeah, that's the way it started.
It's a good tune. So
Thank you.
your band has been described as a sunshine pop, and I'm wondering what are your thoughts about that?
Describe it any way you want.
As long as you're listening.
Just as long as you describe it, yeah.
Okay, so I'm speaking with Jules Alexander, an original and founding member of the association. And with us also is Paul Wilson, who is currently playing guitar, sitting on lead guitar, is that correct?
I get to play with the band sometimes. I'm the sub for Paul Holland, who Paul is the one of the guitar players in the band. Paul played with the band in the 80s, from about 86 to 88, I want to say. And but when Paul has some conflicting duties, he's also a sound engineer out in Ontario, California. So I get to sub for Paul. And so Paul Beach was a bass player for the band in the 80s. Paul Holland is the second Paul, and I'm the third Paul. So I'm like P3. So they either call me P3 or the seventh associate, even though I'm the 45th guy to be in the band. That number was tallied by our friend Malcolm Searles. He's currently finishing a book about the band called Cherish. I think the full title is The Story of America's First Folk Rock Group.
Yeah, and that's about to come out.
Yeah, I mean, it's about to come out next month. But yeah, Jules might be able to tell us more about the folk rock label as it pertains to the...
Yeah, so that's something I want to do is take us back to the 60s.
All right.
And let's see. Yeah, let's see. Okay.
Okay. If you got time, I can tell you about that. We have a little time here. I think I can tell you the long story.
Yeah, tell us.
In the about 64, I and myself and Terry Kirkman, who had become friends in Hawaii a couple of years before that, about 63, 62, we met and found out we had mutual interest in music, really a lot. And we got together again back on the mainland. He lived in Chino, California. I lived in Ontario, California, which are right next to each other practically. And I went into this coffee shop, and all of a sudden there's Terry in the coffee shop, and I hadn't seen him for a year or two. Dude, so we got together and started hanging out and playing. We hung out. It's just a short way over to L.A. and Hollywood from where we lived, 30 miles or something like that. And we used to go over there on the weekends and hit all the coffee houses. Folk music. We were big into folk music at the time.
Right.
And we were doing duos and playing with other people and so on and so forth. And the main coffee house we hung out was the Troubadour.
Yes.
And the Troubadour was the absolute heart chakra of the folk music movement in L.A. That was it. There was a Troubadour, and down the street on Melrose was Ledbetter's. Those were the two main folk houses. Right. Anyway, every Monday night was Hoot Night, a hootenanny, or an open mic night, and we would all of our friends would play. I mean, everybody that was involved in folk music in LA would play there. Everybody.
Including all of those kids up there in Topanga Canyon and Laurel Canyon, Cass Elliott.
Yeah, Cass was there quite often, although she was a New York band. She came from New York. She got her start, the whole Mamas and Papas thing started there.
Right.
As the jug band or something. Mugwumps, yeah. But anyway, it all ended up in LA.
Right.
So we were playing there. And the guy who owned the club, the Troubadour, Doug Weston. Well, there was a third club that was about a mile away where the Christie Minstrels were. Okay, and Doug Weston, who owned the Troubadour, did not like the Christie Minstrels. He thought they were uncool, vicious folk modifiers.
Oh,
commercial. Okay.
Yes.
And he decided he wanted to put together a band to kick their butts, okay? He had listened to a bunch of us, and he said, guys, everybody who's on stage want to talk to you. So after the evening was over, he said, I'm going to put together a band. And everybody come audition. So we set up a weekend where everybody who's interested in doing a large group came to audition. And I was one of the ones, and Terry Kirkman, also my pal, we were chosen to be in the band that formed out of that 13-person band. Folk band. And so we started rehearsals. Well, what happened was I played acoustic guitar, but I had a pickup for it. And we decided, well, Ted Blueshell, one of the guys in the men, was a good drummer. A couple of the other guys were good bass players and guitar players. We said, let's bring in our stuff sometime and play it, all along. And we did. And it was magic. I mean, it happened. We decided to go ahead and put that together. And Doug saw it and realized that we were onto something. What was happening is folk music was on a decline at that time.
This was about 66, is that right?
65.
65.
Yeah. Folk music was on a decline. The government had the COINTELPRO stuff happening and was doing things to get those filthy folk musicians,
who they thought were
away.
communist.
Yeah. Probably were. A lot were. But they did a lot to do that. So anyway, we decided we're going to do this. We're going to put it together. We put it together, and we got a real good reputation around L.A. Well, time went on. It's a long story, but that band decided to break up one night. Okay, it just didn't work for what we wanted to do, and Terry and I got together and said, "Look, let's put together another band, a small, more commercial, on the radio band, And we did, with a bunch of the people that were left over from that. So we put together a band, and that night we said, what are we going to call ourselves? And we said, I don't know. We had a lot of names that I can't say on the air, or even to my wife. I mean, it would not, no. You know how she is,
Yes.
So Terry's girlfriend was looking through the dictionary and said, what about this, the association? That's a group of people formed to do this all together. And we said, okay, we got it. That's it. Bingo.
I see.
That's where the association started. And Doug had been replaced by another manager of this thing. Doug Weston was replaced by this actor who put 10,000 whole dollars into us, which at the time was pretty cool. And it allowed us to rent a house and rehearse. And we rehearsed for about 6 or 8 months. I mean, that was 8 hours a day, putting together the sound. Bingo, and it happened. And that's where it went from. That band, the big one was the Men, okay, and this one was the association.
But this is the cream of that.
Oh yeah. It was the ones that just wanted to do this, because there was a lot of people in that band that wanted to do folk music, and we said, no, we're not going to do that, So
Right.
13. Yeah, it was 13.
And every single member of the band sang, correct?
Yeah, it still does. It's a vocal band.
I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
That you were all not just musicians, but vocal as well.
Yeah, that was what we were in folk music. That's what you did. You sing and play. There was only a few instrumentalists around the folk scene.
So your first really breakout hit was "Along Comes Mary."
Yeah, that was national hit. Yeah.
And what record label put that out?
Excuse me. That was on Valiant Records, the little tiny record company. They had us. A woman singer who lives in San Antonio, and I can't think of her name right now. Hispanic woman singer. No, not Tishy. This is way before her. Vicky Carr.
Vicky Carr. Okay.
Vicky Carr and the French singer. Thank heaven for little girls. That was all that was on the entire label. So they liked us, and they didn't know what we were. He said, "Look, we don't know what you guys are, but we like this. We're going to do it." So
we like it.
Yeah. And I had the way we got that song. They had a publishing company, and they would make demos. And I was becoming a studio guitarist. That was what I really wanted to do, So
right.
I was playing a lot of sessions. So they grabbed me and said, "Come on, do demos for us. $35. Hey, yeah."
That was a lot.
That was okay, Yeah.
It might even pay your rent.
Almost. But they got myself and a couple of other people, and we had some songs, the demos. They said, "There's a guy here named Kurt Betcher, and he knows this guy, and this other guy wrote a song," and we did it. Okay, that was "Along Comes Mary." Okay, and so we did the demo. It was a demo tune that you give around to people, if they want to do it, to sell the song. I heard it and said, "That's mine. Can I have first dibs on this?" And they said, "Well, sure, why not?" Because we had the band going. So that was how we got the tune.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice. I love how there was a lot of pollination and crossbreeding that was taking place in LA at that time.
Amazing amount.
Is that still happening, or was it particularly
absolutely
proliferate at that time?
It happens right here in this town.
Yeah.
How many bands are you in? This is Paul, I'm asking.
Yeah, it's hard. I have, I guess, 2 of my own. I have 2 of my own. and then
Us,
and then you guys, and then I play. Yeah, so the musicians.
That's the way it works.
Yeah,
And that's the way it works. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. And you hear other musicians that you really enjoy and you want to play with, and then something new
yeah.
comes from that.
Yeah, it didn't used to be that way. In the old days, back in the old days, I used to have to go to work and school and travel 3 miles over barefoot in snow. But anyway, sorry. You had to be in the union, okay.
Oh.
Which was okay because they really did take care of you. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
they would look out for you if somebody tried to screw you over. Boy, the union was there, and watch out, Bubba.
Right.
You know, so but now you don't have to do that. But having to be in the union, it was, if you weren't in the union, you weren't supposed to play with non-union musicians.
Oh.
But we all did anyway.
Of
you know.
course.
And that finally went away. You know, I think that union people realized, well, this is not good.
You can't
for
force
growth.
people to do something
Yeah,
that they don't see a value in
Yeah.
doing.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. When Along Comes Mary, let's see, it went to number 7 on the Billboard.
Yeah,
so
it was up
It was
there.
really your first true breakout. So,
Yeah.
excuse me. So let's have a listen.
All right.
Every time I think that I'm the only one who's lonely, someone calls on me. And every now and then I spend my time at climbing verse and curse those false in me. And then along comes Mary. And does she wanna give me kicks? Steady my steady chicken, give me pickled memories. Oh, baby, rather got no tales from all the fails and tribulations no one ever sees. When we met, I was sure out to lunch. Now my empty cup is as sweet as the punch. When big desire is the fire in the eyes of chicks whose sickness is the games they play. And when the masquerade is played, the neighbor folks make jokes at who is most to blame today. And then along comes Mary. And does she want to set them free and let them see reality from where she got a name? And will they struggle much when told that such a tender touch of hers will make them not the same? When we met, I was sure out to lunch. Now my empty cup is as sweet as the punch. Walk to walk. And when the morning of the warnings past, the Gaston placid kids are flung across the stars. The psychodramas and the traumas gone, the songs are endless, sung and hung upon the scars. And then along comes Mary. And does she want to see the stains, the dead remains of all the pain she left the night before? Oh, will their waking eyes reflect the lies and make them realize the urgent cry for sight no more? When we met, I was sure out to lunch. Now my empty cup tastes as sweet as the punch. Sweet as the punch. Sweet as the punch. Sweet as the punch. Sweet as the punch.
Okay, so you caught us. We were having a little laugh there because I was asking the question if that song really did refer to marijuana, as it was controversial at the time. So tell us, Jules.
What? What?
Okay, I take that as a yes. Okay, so tell us a little bit more about Along Came Mary, about how it was created, what happened with that.
Well, we did the demo of it, and it almost comes directly off of the demo, the arrangement. You know, we changed a few little things on it, not very much. It was recorded on. It was recorded along with Cherish and a few other tunes on a 4-track tape recorder,
Right.
and which was a little better than a cassette. You know, I mean, it was. We had a real basic recording situation. We recorded it in a fellow named Gary Paxton's studio, which was right in front of the Hollywood police station, by the way, on a back, kind of this little back road. And the recording room was a little bit smaller than the studio I'm sitting in right now, which is not huge. But the booth where all the equipment was in a bus, in a big, long bus. It was like 40 feet long. Excuse me. And we did it all. Oh, it was fun. But that was the way the entire first album was cut. All the basic tracks. We later transferred those to a high-tech 8-track. My goodness gracious! So we could do the vocals on an 8-track, and actually only on 4 tracks, because we took 4 tracks and put them on 4 of those 8 tracks, and then the other 4 tracks we did vocals on.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. So then the next hit that you had was Cherish.
Yep.
You want us to tell a little bit about that?
That song took forever to write. Terry Kirkman wanted to write it and kept trying to write it and kept trying to write it and kept trying to write it. It just took a tremendous long time to write. The record company did not want to put it out because they thought that Cherish, in fact, their exact words were, "Cherish is an antiquated word, and nobody says the word cherish anymore." And we said, "Oh, yeah." Well, we gave some expletives to him, and said, "That's what you're putting out, or adios." You know, so they did put it out, and what happened was they put out another song. I can't remember what it was, but Cherish was on the back side. They used to send out 45s to radio stations, and they have an A side and a B side, and you're supposed to play the A side.
Right.
Well, a DJ in Chicago played both sides, and he turned it over. Cherish was the B side, and it exploded. I mean, absolutely exploded.
Because they were wrong.
Who
who doesn't want to be cherished?
Yeah, exactly. You know, and that word came back into the English lexicon. I mean, it was gone. They were right. It was antiquated word. I never heard the word cherish, you know, except in books.
Right.
You know.
Right. But yeah, I think there was even more of an emphasis at that time on a love that was true.
Yeah.
And real, and that you actually could work on for a lifetime.
Yeah. So that's how that song sort of got out.
Okay, so let's give that one a listen.
All right.
All right.
Cherish is a word I use to describe all the feeling that I have hiding here for you inside. You don't know how many times I wish that I had told you. You don't know how many times I wish that I could hold you. You don't know how many times I wish that I could mold you into someone who could cherish me as much as I cherish you. Perish is a word that more than applies to the hope in my heart each time I realize that I am not gonna be the one to share your dreams, that I am not gonna be the one to share your schemes, that I am not gonna be the one to share what seems to be the life that you could cherish as much as I do yours. Oh, I'm beginning to think that man has never found the words that could make you want me, that have the right amount of letters, just the right sound that could make you hear, make you see that you are driving me out of my mind. Oh, I could say I need you, but then you'd realize that I want you, just like 1,000 other guys would say they love you. with all the rest of their lives, when all they wanted was to touch your face, your hands, and gaze into your eyes. Cherish is the word I use to describe all the feeling that I have hiding here for you inside. You don't know how many times I wish that I had told you. You don't know how many times I wish that I could hold you. You don't know how many times I wish that I could mold you into someone who could cherish me as much as I cherish you. And I do cherish you. And I do cherish you. Cherish is the
All right. Isn't that lovely? We were just talking about this, and Jules, do you want to tell us what you were just saying about how they disliked the word cherish and didn't want to do this song?
Yeah, they didn't want to do it. Did not want to release the song because they felt cherish was an antiquated word.
Yes.
The record company didn't want to do it, and we told them that we're going to release it anyway. And it did, you know.
And
worked.
it brought the word back.
Yeah, it's now, I hear it all the time.
And the song went to #1.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes. So it was really an outrageous success. And still, people still.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they may know the song before they know the association.
Oh, yeah,
you know.
that was kind of planned that way, actually. Our manager, Pat Colecchio, during all of these many years, wanted to put us out as a group, you know, not as any individual.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there was no star in the group, you know.
Right.
And we sang almost all of our leads two voices. So we would take different twos to make it just makes a kind of a nice sound.
It's a rich sound.
Yeah, so that's one of our tricks. We have other recording tricks that are kind of fun, you
Right.
know, but that's why he didn't want us to do that, you know.
Right, right. So after you put out Cherish, you didn't quite have the best results with your second album, and then come around 1967, you decided to go to India.
Yeah.
Tell us what was going on there and how that decision came about.
Well, what I'd gotten involved in some meditation stuff. It was actually it was before the Beatles, before a lot of people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I just happened to be on the tip of that wave that was happening all throughout L.A.
Mm-hmm.
and the country as a whole. There was a spiritual movement. You know,
Right.
and I just got into it kind of early,
Mm-hmm.
and I decided to go to India. You know, and do a little studying over there. So I did, and I had to leave the group to do it. You
Right.
know. But that was okay because I came back.
Did you find what you were seeking while you were there?
Well, I didn't go there looking for anything actually.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things were verified to me when I was over there.
Ah.
Things I was already thinking.
Right.
You know, I said, "Oh yeah," you know, and I just saw very interesting things. It was like stepping back 900 years because I was up in northern India and it was very rural and very just a little bit of electricity and everything was cooked on open fires, and it was, boy, at night, I mean, it really was, you know, a time machine,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So-
That sounds so interesting. So
Yeah,
how
it
long
was.
were you there?
Oh, no more than a month and a half.
Oh, okay.
Something like that, a short time.
So you did come back,
Oh, yeah.
and let's see now. Just a moment. Larry Ramos took your place
Yeah.
while you were gone. Is that correct?
Yeah.
But he didn't leave when you came back.
No,
they just
no.
worked you in.
Yeah.
Did you go from playing lead guitar to playing bass? Is that right?
Well, actually, I still played lead also. We would swap off. You know, we kind of didn't have much of a, I'm playing lead, you're playing rhythm. That was not the the zeitgeist of the band. You know, it
Right.
was let's just play what we like. You
Yeah,
know?
what you like to play.
Yeah, exactly.
And bring your genius out. of course.
Exactly, and so there was never that kind of thing very much in the band.
Yeah.
So I played guitar. I played bass for a while. What had happened is Brian Cole died. He was our original bass player.
Mm-hmm.
He OD'd, unfortunately.
Oh,
Yeah, bad.
that is
But
sad.
I started playing bass. Well, I knew how to play bass anyway, as a bass
Mm-hmm.
player as well as a guitar player.
Right.
So I knew all the parts, and so I could go ahead and take it. So I did that for a while until we got another bass player, and we've had several over the time. And then I went back to playing guitar.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And now, Larry Ramos, he actually died in 2014. Is that right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, in fact, just a couple of last
Days ago,
week.
it was the
Yeah,
anniversary,
yeah,
Oh,
4-year
yeah.
anniversary. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he sang high parts, did he not?
No, well, yeah, he was more or less a second tenor.
Mm-hmm.
He could slide up to first tenor every now and then and slide down, but he had a good second tenor.
Yeah. And so who sings the high parts now?
Jim and I still do. Yeah, Jim Yester and I do.
That's impressive.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna
It
do?
really is. It's just practice, I guess.
Now, the
And
thing
you don't
is,
smoke.
no. If you're careful with what you sing, you can do it forever. I mean, you just kind of not beat up your voice. You're okay. Opera singers tend to burn out in their mid-50s because they're singing all the time. They're going there hardcore singing, and we're not. That ain't
Yeah.
rock and roll. I mean,
Yeah.
it can be, but when you sing it like we do, you can go for a long, long, long time.
Right. So I was thinking was it while you were gone that Wendy hit the charts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Wendy came out when I was gone. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you hear it while you were in India, or were you already
No,
involved
not
in that
India.
before you
didn't
left?
hear it. You heard sitar music in India. You didn't hear anything else.
No American music
No
over there.
American music, sitar music, and
interesting.
Eastern scales.
Right.
Wendy and Never My Love both. They came out.
Okay. Well, let's have a listen to Wendy right now.
Got
and in a moment we'll play the other.
All right.
All right, great. All right, that was Windy by the Association. And you heard it on the Rainbow Flower Power Hour. I am Rebecca Doll, and you're tuned in to KZSM Community Supported Radio in San Marcos, Texas. And we just love for you to stay tuned. We've got a lot more great information and news for you after this. You are listening to a rebroadcast of the Rainbow Flower Power Hour with Rebecca Doll. Catch me live Tuesdays at 6 p.m. right here on KZSM, Community Supported Radio in San Marcos, Texas.
This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius.
In a sky full of people, only some want to fly. Isn't that crazy? Don't be crazy. Listen to Soul Sanctuary Mondays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time right here on kzsm.org.
Revolving Door is your local radio show where we host the best live bands in our downtown San Marcos studio every Sunday from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune in to kzsm.org to hear the best of your local live bands for 32 minutes to an hour as we get them in and get them out and on air.
Ahoy, all my shipmates, grunts, Airedales, and landlubbers. This is Doc the Salty Sea Dog. Join me every Monday afternoon from 1700 to 1800 for an hour of news and information. Forget the scuttlebutt, I'll give you the real deal about benefits, activities, and what's going on with our brothers in arms still standing watch. Find out where to go when you need to get things done. Muster is at 1700 every Monday right here on kzsm.org.
All right, and so if you're just joining us, this is the Rainbow Flower Power Hour, and I am Rebecca Doll, and today I'm interviewing two members of the association. Jules Alexander was an original member of the association, and he is still playing in the association all these years later. And I also have Paul Wilson in the studio with us, and Paul is actually the 45th guy to play with the association, but he's lovingly called the 7th member of the association.
Associate, yes. Jules dubbed me that from the stage lovingly. It was I enjoy being called that quite a bit.
I think that's great. Okay, so you were telling us a little story here, and I think our listeners would get a kick out of what you're saying.
Well, one of the interesting things about the band is the exposure that it's had, not just on radio, but also in movies and TV shows. Cherish was appeared in the scene in Pretty in Pink. Mm-hmm. Wendy was featured in an episode of Breaking Bad. There's an episode. I'm a big fan of the show, and in fact, I became a fan of the show because somebody told me that an association song was in an episode, and I went, and then I just got involved in watching the show, but the first gig I played with the guys was a couple of years ago. It was May of 2016, and we played in this Monroe, Wisconsin, and there was a young hotel clerk, probably late teens, early 20s, and he was asking about the band, how, what are you guys famous for? And so Jordan Cole, who's the keyboard player in the band, he's the son of Brian, the original bass player. Jordan said, well, you ever seen Breaking Bad? And kid says, yeah. You ever seen this episode? Kid says, yeah. So, and then Jordan explains it all, and again, this young guy gets this look on his face, like, oh, that's you guys, So, of course, he's, however old he is, he's born in 1996 or something, and so, but yeah, I'm sure that did boosted, made the band more known to a much younger audience.
Right, right. And in Breaking Bad, as you were saying, Wendy was played while showing all of the various activities and details.
There was a minor character named Wendy, and she was a prostitute, and it was a montage of all of her lewd and carnal exploits, and so it was kind of graphic. It's not the kind of thing where I'd say, "Hey, Mom, Dad, there's the band I'm playing."
That sounds
with
kind
now.
of that's an amusing play on it.
Yeah, but it worked. It was just because the song is so light, and that Sunshine Pop, and then there's this really gritty. Vince Gilligan in Breaking Bad was really great at picking these great '60s songs, like "Baby Blue" was by Badfinger, was the closing song of the series, and he picked an association song, a monkey. He was great at having these great music, and so anyways, that's just another cool thing about the band is to the extent to which the hits have been featured in movies and television.
Well, another, it was also in a movie called The Strawberry Statement, I believe it was. The Strawberry Statement was a look at the whole hippie community.
Okay.
And the political aspect of the hippie community, and there was several scenes about the riots in Chicago in the '68 convention. Okay, and they're showing these battles, and Wendy's going on in the background. There's, these cops and hippies kicking each other's butts.
Wow.
Yeah. It's it's played against as opposed to going with it.
Interesting.
Yeah, that kind of happy la 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 thing that was going on, but at the same time, is really devastating things taking place and changes happening in our country, which are still taking place today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It seems like we're still in process. I think we'll make it to peace and love, but we're not quite there yet.
I think so too.
Yeah.
We're liable to step in a lot of deep places though before we get there.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to play "Never My Love" after saying that, because I really think we will get to peace. But I think the next song up that was popular that you guys did was "Never My Love." And
if I may, Rebecca, this is worthy of note. There was 3 association songs that are in the BMI's top 100 most played songs of the 20th century, and "Never My Love" is the second most played song.
Wow!
Right behind
Airplay,
Airplay wise.
Well, and I mean, any wedding band, they have to know "Never My Love."
But right after the Righteous Brothers, or
Righteous Brothers are number 1.
You've Lost Love and Feeling.
Love and Feeling.
Then
most played song of the last 100 years.
Oh wow!
That's amazing.
And then
that's a heartbreaker too.
And then Yesterday is the third. So go figure.
Right. And you were saying earlier, Paul, right, that "Cherish" and "Never My Love" get confused.
Well, Terry Kirkman was on. He was either doing a radio interview or he did a Facebook post, and he mentioned and Terry writes blogs, and I think he wrote written for the HuffPost or something like that. It was something that he said or wrote, and he mentioned how his song "Cherish" gets confused with "Never My Love," which is written by the Idrisi brothers, Non and Dick Idrisi, and he said, and Terry was saying they're totally different topically, because Cherish is about unrequited love, and "Never My Love" is about being with the person you love. So
memories,
in love.
It's interesting.
They have their own life.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. They do. So shall we hear "Never My Love" now?
Sure.
All right, let's go.
Ask me if there'll come a time when I grow tired of you. Never my love, never my love. You wonder if this heart of mine will lose its desire for you. Never my love, never my love. What makes you think love will end when you know that my whole life depends on you, on you. Da 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 da. You say you fear I'll change my mind. I won't require you. Never mind, love. Never mind, love. Never mind, love. How can you think love will end when I've asked you to spend your whole life with me? Never mind, love. Never mind, love. Never mind, love. Never mind, love.
All right, so that's a lovely tune, Never My Love. Well done. So let's see, Clark Burroughs of the High-Lows helped you arrange that musical arrangement, is that correct? And
Yeah, that was basically his arrangement.
and they were a big influence on your group, is that
Me personally, yeah.
right?
It was the second record I ever bought was a High-Lows record, My Sugar Is So Refined. Name of the tune.
If I can figure out how to hook it up, I'll try to play that for us too later. If we have some time, I do have that backed up on my phone, though. I don't know really how to plug that in. But yeah, so that's interesting. So who else influenced you?
Well, those were the first two records. Well, that was the second record I bought. The first record was Buddy Holly.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so there's right there it is.
Yeah.
But the thing was, in Tennessee, I grew up in Chattanooga, and which is southeast corner of Tennessee. And about 60 miles, 70 miles away was a radio station that was from Gallatin, Tennessee. And they had this evening DJ. I can't remember his name, but he was the from Randy's Record Mart, and they would play at night. It was radio was so different then. It was just all up to the DJ and what they wanted to play. And so this guy would play Henry Mancini right next to Bobby Blue Bland, right next to Ray Charles, right next to all of these things. So I could listen to that and I would hear this wide variety of music every night, And that was just heard all different kinds of musics.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So if you're just joining us now, I have two members of the association with us, and that was Jules Alexander speaking to us just then. And if you have any questions that you would like to ask Jules or Paul, please give us a text. The number here at the station is 512-986-9430. So, Jules, take us on through the story. So after Never My Love, what was the next thing that you were working on?
I have no idea. We worked on so many things. I mean, we were just always in the studio doing something.
Right. So from my research, what I understand is you were working on Goodbye Columbus.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. Goodbye Columbus was a movie, of course, that many of us have seen.
Ally McGraw was
Ally McGraw's first movie. Yeah, she
right.
it was really a pretty good movie. But they asked us to do it, so they said write some songs for us. Mm-hmm. So we all wrote songs, and that was Goodbye Columbus was one of the tunes that did it.
Right, and you were the perfect band to choose because this was a romantic drama.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was basically about the kind of naivety with which some women might come towards the free love and sex movement that was happening at that time. I think there was some controversy in the movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Plus, it was a real study of the Jewish subculture in New York and how that worked,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was an interesting movie, and it would be interesting to see that again. It's been many years since I've seen it.
Funny thing you should admit. Well, not too long ago, I was flying into L.A. and I was getting my luggage, and I looked there, and there's Richard Benjamin getting his luggage, and he was the main the guy, right?
Right.
And I said, "Oh my God!" We said hi and laughed. He was just coming back from I think 30-year reunion of that movie, or maybe 35-year reunion.
Oh wow!
And he said it still stands up. It's still relevant.
Right.
So pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's based on a book by Philip Roth, by the way.
Yeah, Philip Roth.
David's in the studio, and he's saying that book was based on a.
Yeah.
I mean, that movie was based on a book by Philip Roth.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is really true. So I'm sure our listening audience would love to hear "Goodbye Columbus." So shall we play that?
Oh yeah.
Let's go.
Got to say hello, it's a lucky day. Kiss the moon goodbye and be on our way. It's a lucky day 'cause I found you. Gonna build a new world around you. Touch the sun and run, it's a lucky day. Hello life, goodbye Columbus. I got a feeling that you're gonna hear from us. You're gonna know that we've taken the world by surprise. Got that look in our eyes. It's a lucky day, just for changing, leaving the old world behind. Lucky day for walking a new road, just to clear your mind. It's a day for starting a new way, telling the old one goodbye. Lucky day for getting above it, spread your wings and fly. Hello life, goodbye Columbus. I got a feeling that you're gonna hear from us. You're gonna know that we've taken the world by surprise. Got that look in our eyes. It's a lucky day. Goodbye Columbus. I got a feeling that you're gonna hear from us. You're gonna know that we've taken the world by surprise. Got that look in our eyes. It's a lucky day. Yeah. Goodbye, goodbye Columbus. 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 Goodbye, goodbye Columbus.
All right, that was "Goodbye Columbus" by the Association. And Jules, will you tell us a little bit about that tune? While we were listening to it, you were telling us that the studio rejected that song.
Well, they rejected. Yeah, what they did is they wanted us to do the songs for the movie, and they said, write some songs for us, and we'll see what you got. Well, myself and Terry Kirkman and Rita Martinson, this friend of ours who was a real good songwriter, we all collaborated on the tune. Excuse me. And it was called Goodbye Columbus. Well, we all submitted it, and they rejected our song. They took Jim Yester's Goodbye Columbus, and they went with that. But we liked that song anyway, so we said, we got to do something with this tune.
Yeah.
We said, well, one of the guys in the band, Russ Jaguar, used to always, when he was leaving anywhere, anytime, he'd say, well, goodbye forever. And people would go, oh, no, don't say that, don't say that. So we said, let's use that instead. So we changed it to Goodbye Forever.
Yeah, yeah, which seems appropriate because in the movie it was Goodbye Forever.
To me, that would have been a perfect ending for that.
Okay, so let's hear that one too.
You got it.
Here we go.
Not just another pretty face, but and a reputation on the line, and tried to fake it. He walked in and begged for lesson time, and couldn't take it. Goodbye forever, goodbye forever, goodbye. Who makes the pictures for the golden daughter's blind eyes? Who makes the snowfall for the aging father's white lies? She laid more than a reputation on the line, and tried to fake it. He walked in and begged for lesson time, and couldn't take it. Goodbye forever, goodbye forever, goodbye. Goodbye forever. Goodbye forever. Goodbye. Not just another pretty border body, genuine blue booty. Not just another pretty bottom body, genuine cheap groovy. She laid more than a reputation on the line, and tried to fake it. He walked in and begged for lesson time, and couldn't take it. Goodbye forever, goodbye forever, goodbye. Goodbye forever. Goodbye forever. Goodbye
All right. That was Goodbye Forever by the Association. If you're just joining us, you're listening to the Rainbow Flower Power Hour with Rebecca Doll, and I'm interviewing Jules Alexander and Paul Wilson from the Association. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Welcome, San Marcos, Texas, and KZSM.org listeners all over the world. This is Metal Mark Live. Every Friday night, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check me out. I'm doing the metal that you love so much. Go to our main page. Check us out. Maybe help us out with a donation. Get involved with KZSM.org, San Marcos, Texas, Community Radio.
This is David, the handsomest boy on radio. Listen every Tuesday night from 10 p.m. till midnight for jazz, fusion, bebop, samba, bossa nova, cool jazz, Latin, and maybe even some reggae and some Afrobeat. That's Tuesday night at 10 p.m. till midnight on KZSM.org, San Marcos, Texas.
Did you know that some colors are so toxic that they are not allowed in food, yet they can be in your medicine? Get the real story behind FD&C colors and more right here at the Granny Good Food Show, Tuesdays at the noon hour, exclusively on KZSM.org.
You are listening to a rebroadcast of the Rainbow Flower Power Hour with Rebecca Doll. Catch me live Tuesdays at 6 p.m. right here on KZSM, community-supported radio in San Marcos, Texas. And we're back. Okay, so there's a, after these tunes, you guys never really hit the charts with a big sensation, but you've continued to be a huge draw for concerts and venues all over the world.
Yeah.
Right. And I think Paul recently went with you on the Flower Power Cruise.
Yeah, we did a cruise. We play them maybe once, twice, 3 times a year sometimes.
Uh-huh.
And our other Paul couldn't make it. So naturally we get Paul, and he came and we just played one show, Two shows?
Yeah, two back to back.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
Two 45-minute sets.
2 back to back.
It was a blast. I think there were maybe, I don't want to say 2,000 passengers total,
Yeah, right
something like
around
that.
there.
But the lineup was the association, the Cowsills.
Mhm.
Cowsills are tremendous people. They're
Right.
good,
Boy,
good
those
friends
are
of the
favorite
bands.
favorite bands.
Yeah, they're just Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees, Mark Lindsay of Paul Revere and the Raiders, Peter
Mhm.
Noon of Herman's Hermits.
Peter Asher,
who was Linda Ronstadt's producer, and also Peter and Gord. I mean, there's like 15 bands from Grand Funk Railroad. I could name more, and every band was great. The people were great. I hope some of them I've friended on Facebook, and they're just met a bunch of lovely people, and we had a blast.
Right.
We only got to stay about half the time. We were there from, I don't know, I guess we docked out of, or we left port out of Florida and then went to Aruba.
Mhm.
And so we missed a lot of we missed the second half of the cruise. The Hollies played after we left, but it was just a great.
Yeah, they were taking people, just go play and get out of here.
Yeah.
And then somebody
now
else
you
would
guys
come
come
in,
back in.
come in and play, so.
Right.
Yeah, clean the rooms up or something like that. But anyways, we had a great time. We had a really great time.
I'm sure it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, that sounds really great. So you were telling me that you have a really good story, Jules, about Dubuque Blues.
Yeah, the Dubuque Blues. What had happened is we were on our very first tour ever. We had 3 station wagons. It carried all of us, the equipment. We used to have to travel with a huge amount of equipment. Doesn't happen now anymore. Because it's cheaper to have the guy get the equipment there, and we'll show up, and
Right.
Then all the equipment's there. But anyway, that's the way we used to travel.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really a backbreaking tour, and we took our first few days off in Dubuque, Iowa. Okay, which is right in the middle. It's right on the Mississippi River. Mm-hmm. And we got in there late at night, and I woke up the next day. I just went to bed and slept, and something like 12 hours. Woke up, opened the door, and looked out, and I thought I was in Chattanooga, Tennessee, because it looks exactly like Chattanooga. It was really spooky, weird kind of thing. And of course, being a songwriter, okay, I'm going to go write a song about it.
Right.
Yeah, but that's how that song came about, the Dubuque Blues, and I was using my memories of Tennessee mixed in with my reality there of Dubuque, and so that's how that song got written.
Yeah.
And the song's actually, the people in it were real. I remember those people. So
yeah. Tell us about one of them.
Anna Sue. I mentioned a girl named Anna Sue, which I was 10, she was older than me, 10, 11, and she was I think 17 because she was driving. But I was in love with her. My God, one look and it was just, and she would actually smiled at me and would talk to me and stuff. So that's her.
In love with an older woman.
Oh yeah, man, cool.
And so she showed up in your song when you had the blues.
Yeah.
Homesick. Yeah, being on the road. I can imagine. It's exhausting to be on the road. How long had you been on the road at that point?
53. Oh, no, I was thinking, how long have I been on the road? 53 years.
Oh, yes.
But that was our first tour, and it was we had maybe 2 months,
Oh, yeah.
month and a half, something like that. 6
That's
weeks.
a long time.
But you guys didn't record it till '69. That's a long time between writing and recording it.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, shall we hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, this is Dubuque Blues.
Do you remember Dubuque? Have you even heard of that? It's half between New York and California. There is a highway in and back, plus an active railroad track, and the west side of the city sells no liquor. And I can't recall the instances that keep it in my thoughts. City parks or nighttime girls or ancient limestone rocks, writing songs of rights and wrongs and buying penny loafer shoes. Or definitely, most certainly have brought the Dubuque blues. Do you remember Anna Sue? Have you even heard of that? She went from Tennessee to Minnesota. She was 13 and I was 10, as the gentle southern wind would make the moonlight shatter through the maples. And I can recall the summers that we spent among the trees, when there were no Monday plumbers to allow my life of ease, writing songs of rights and wrongs and buying penny loafer shoes. Oh, definitely, most certainly, I've got the Dubuque blues. Now the Dubuque blues ain't news to anybody who knows sadness is the sweetest of the pain, who can tell with just a look that it's all over, and who never cried, well, almost never cried. Do you remember nickel cokes? Have you even heard of that? The half between the 40s and tomorrow. I once considered it my home. Now I know I'll always roam, and if I pass through there again, I will be lucky. And I can't recall the instances they hung it in my thoughts, and I'm sure they're as important as the feelings that they brought, writing songs of rights and wrongs and buying penny loafer shoes. Oh, definitely, most certainly, I've got the Dubuque
That was lovely. That was really nice, Jules. So this song was written, that's Dubuque Blues, performed by the association, but written by Jules Alexander. Yeah, so very nice. Very nice. I think I can like feel the homesickness in there.
Oh, yeah.
The kind of wistfulness,
Yeah.
you know, in it.
Just memories of that time.
That's nice. That's nice. So tell us another story about another person in there.
Which one? Which person? How about nickel cokes?
Nickel Cokes, yeah, things.
Nickel Cokes.
Yeah, well, they cost a nickel when I was a kid. You know, you could buy a Coke. And the funny thing about them, there used to be these machines, these Coke machines, that were like a cooler. You know, they were built like a cooler, but they were larger. They're about, I guess, 3.5 feet long and 2.5 feet wide, and you pull the top up. And they had these metal bars in them, and the Cokes would fit in there. You slide them in, and you just.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Okay, yeah, and you put your nickel in, you pull it out. Well, the thing is, if you had an opener and a straw, you could sort of walk over there and open it up. That was their trick, man. Every kid I knew my age, you know, we all knew that trick. You know, so we used to steal them all the time.
So they saw you coming, huh?
Oh,
And eventually.
yeah, everybody, all the people knew it. They just said, "Oh, let them leave them alone. Ain't hurting nothing."
A nickel back then, it's like
that was a Coke, man. It was a what, $1.69 and geez, yeah.
And they were made with real sugar back then.
Yeah, right. Mexican Cokes. That's the same thing. You know, that's what they tasted like.
Sugar.
Right. The real thing. So tell us, what's next? What are you guys doing next?
Oh, next we're going to Las Vegas next weekend.
Vegas.
We're playing at the Golden Nugget Casino.
Yeah.
On, let me check my Google calendar here.
It's the
May
10th, 11th, and 12th. Yeah.
Yeah, May 11th, which is a Friday.
Okay.
That's the old strip. I've been to Vegas twice. I'm sure Jules has been many times, but that's the old strip of Vegas.
It's old downtown. It's old school Vegas.
Wow. And
Old
the other
school
exciting
Vegas.
news, we met this delightful English gentleman, Malcolm Searles. I guess we met Malcolm on Facebook, didn't we?
Yeah, I think so.
I guess
That's how he introduced himself.
Yeah. Well, Malcolm is a music biographer, and Jules got to meet him in person. Jules met Jules visited his daughter Amy. And
he lives in just north of London a little ways.
But Malcolm had written a biography on the band Bread. And he approached the band about doing a biography of the association. And his book, which is called Cherish, The Association Cherish, The Story of America's First Folk Rock Band, by Malcolm R. Searles. And this is on a recent update about the book from Malcolm that I would like to read. Word from the printer, this is on April 18th. He says, word from the printers is that turnaround on the book should be about 3 to 4 weeks. Be able to confirm costs, including shipping, once I receive copies. But what I can announce now is that initially the book will be made available in limited print runs, signed by the author if you so require, and accompanied by an exclusive set of promotional postcards for the first 100 orders if you purchase directly. So we can make that available. But if you go on Facebook and look for The Association Cherish, that's Malcolm's page.
Right, I think Cherish is in quotation marks. Exactly. I went to look it up. So. Yeah. The Association Cherish would be
that's Malcolm's book site. You can also find the association on the web, www.theassociationwebsite.com is the website.
Make sure you're on the
there's associations on Facebook also.
Official association website.
But after the Vegas gig, the 3 senior associates, which are Jim and Jules and Del Ramos, brother of Larry, will be joining the Turtles and the Cowsills and Chuck Negron of formerly of Three Dog Night, and Gary Puckett, and who am I leaving out?
Ron Dante, who was the Archies.
The Happy Together Tour. The Happy Together Tour starts this summer, so those guys will be on the road, and then the association will go back to the normal band mode in the fall, sometime in August. So, but yeah, so Happy Together Tours I got to see a show with all these bands. Are terrific. It's just a terrific show. Backing band, and then the solo singers, and then the scaled down versions of the bands, and it's amazingly efficient. The change out between acts is like a couple minutes. I think that was so remarkable. It's like, I got there like
in part because the equipment's there and you just plug in.
I got there 10 minutes late, and I didn't get to see the Cowsills, so that's kind of my point this summer. I'm going to go see a show so I can catch them.
Catch that show.
Yeah, but that's the future of the band, and keep on playing and keep on keeping on, right, Jules?
Yeah, I guess so. That's no other option.
That's right.
So clearly you're still having a good time.
Oh yeah, we do. We have a real good time.
Yeah.
I've only played 3 gigs with the guys, and they're. I mean, Jules is one of my closest friends, but they're all good friends of mine, and we laugh a lot. These guys have great anecdotes. They've been in the business for 50+ years. It's just tremendous fun.
Yeah.
It's funny how we got. Well, what happened was, Paul and I are good pals, and we have a bunch of friends around here. Ike Eichenberg is a real good friend of ours. Eric Kokanen, so on and so forth. All the local guys, right?
Right.
Well, one of the guys who's a sound engineer, our regular Paul Holland, a gig came up, and he said, "Man, I cannot make it. I'm committed to this other gig, and I just can't do it." And they said, "Well, does anybody know who somebody can stand in for him?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I happen to know this guy who knows every part of every song we ever did and can sing them and plays them." And if to get him, so I called him up. We didn't rehearse, nothing. I said, "Trust this. This guy can do it."
Well, that's a consummate professional, if ever there was one.
Exactly. And it was just amazing. I mean, the first time we did it, bang, it was dead on. And it was just like, wow.
I was well prepared. I mean, the thing about playing with the association is, I mean, I've been playing semi-professionally. Well, pretty much. I met Jules in '94, and I met Jules through I was in a band with a friend, one of my good friends, John Conley. John at the time worked for Head Start, and Jules' wife Cynthia was John's supervisor. So John, we used to practice. So Texas Red's the steakhouse, or what's it called? No, what's the barbecue place over there on just down Guadalupe? Not Hays County, but Black's Barbecue.
Black's.
Black's Barbecue it used to be a warehouse, and this band I was in named Loblaw, we used to practice there. And it was next to what was then Texas Red Steakhouse. Anyways, So the first time I met Jules, it was in late '94, '95. He comes to one of our rehearsals, and I was a big fan of the association. I've always been a fan of music before my time. Love the Beatles and all the Sunshine Pop groups and all that. And immediately I just start picking this guy's brain about everything, and he's very gregarious and friendly, obviously, as you figured out right when you met him.
He's delightful.
But what I always tell everybody is that Jules met me when I was 22. He's never treated me like a kid. He's always treated me like a peer. He's always been, he and Cynthia have always been very supportive of coming to see my bands play, no matter where they are. So I guess I had my head screwed on well enough that when the time came for, Jules said, "Hey, you want to come play with us?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it."
So how did you happen to know all that music, all those parts already?
I have an obsessive compulsive personality. I just listen to music over and over and over again, and I never get tired of it. And that's how I know a lot of the stuff that I do.
Are you like the guy in the music circle that goes, "No, it goes like this"?
I can be that annoying. I try not to be, but yeah, I've listened. I wore that as that.
So I take it
greatest hits album out.
You had an opportunity to show Jules that you knew that stuff.
How did you know? I correct him on chord changes all the time.
I correct you on chord changes. What do you mean? That's a major ninth, not a major seventh. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Potato.
Yeah, we just.
I've learned a lot from the guys, and but it's really like any other gig. I mean, and it's
a gig.
It's a gig, and the thing that I learned in part from Jules and other lifers, professional musician friends of mine, is that when I started playing music, I was in it for the wrong reasons. I was, and I think a lot of people get into it because they need their ego satisfied. They're seeking romance from women in the audience and things like that. And so it was the normal kinds of things. But as soon as I figured out that, and it's going to sound cheesy and cliche, but you serve. This is what our friend Doug Floyd says. He says you serve the song. You serve the music is bigger than any one person who's playing it. And what I always liked about the association was something that Jules said earlier. And if you look at their greatest hits album, there's the Six Figures. The album came out when Larry Ramos was in the sixth member, but you can't quite make out anybody out. The faces are kind of all obscured, and I was playing a gig with Molly and our friend Billy the other day. We were setting up the PA, and Molly commented how the Channel 1 was out. She says, "There's no number one in this band," and I said, "That's great. That's just how I like it." That's the idea behind the association, and I've always wanted to be in bands where there was no star, it just all for one, and it's a democratic ideal, of course, and it doesn't always work out that way, but it's about the closest thing that I've ever seen. It's just and that's how it's from a kind of an outsider / insider perspective. That's how I perceive the band.
So you like that it's egalitarian. There's nobody that's riding over anybody else.
I mean, Jules and Jim definitely take leadership roles because these guys have been in the band the longest. But it doesn't matter who's singing lead on Cherish. It doesn't matter whoever makes it sound the best. It could be be me next year maybe or whoever. But yeah, it's. And
so how do you guys come about deciding that?
What's that?
When you're like, how do you decide? Do you does everybody try it out and then? Jules does it the best, or Paul does it the best.
It's a growing, evolving relationship. And it started out that way. Everybody try it. Finally, we get to know where everybody's strengths and weaknesses are. And so you just don't have to do all that because this guy can do that pretty good.
Yeah, that song is for
Jules. He'll really kill that one.
Yeah.
But since it's a six man vocal band, obviously there have to be vocal parts. Phil, Jordan, Cole, Brian's son, he's got the deepest voice, so he tends to sing the bass parts.
But he also has a range. It's amazing. The Himalayan range.
Exactly.
He can sing the high parts and the low parts, but we keep him down there on the bottom because
he can do it.
He's the best at it. Yeah.
But I'm a baritone tenor, and Jules, and so it's got you got to have those ranges covered. Obviously, if we had people that couldn't do the low parts, it wouldn't work. But
right.
But yeah, it's just loads of fun, and I this just is also in conjunction with playing with them. But my musical life changed when I figured out the real reason to do it. You just do it for the sake of the art. It sounds
for the
sounds
joy
cheesy.
of it.
Yeah, it's not for you. It's intrinsically valuable. You do it for its own sake.
That's my reason for living is the joy of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
So yeah, So my life is full of gratitude and joy, and I'm surrounded by good friends and musicians, and these guys are part of them. So yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's really wonderful. Yeah. So, okay. So I've got a question about one of our listeners is curious. There was a time when there was a band that was pretending to be the association. Is that so?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us that story, Jules.
Oh, okay. This is a funny kind of a thing. We had just come off a couple of dates. Here's what happened. The band is broken up. Well, not broken up, but the people had left, and they had a bunch of people in the band, and like only one person was in the band, and that died. Okay. What happened was Terry Kirkman was writing for a TV show. Okay, and he said, "Hey, why don't you guys come do this TV show?"
An HBO show.
Yeah, HBO show. And we did it, and we sat down to rehearse, and we played. Everybody knew the parts. It was, and we said, well, let's put this back together again. So it took about 6 months because we were all in different things, and we got it back together, said, okay, let's go play some gigs. We did. We played one up in Alaska. The only state we had never played in before was our first gig, right? And then we said, okay, there was only 2 gigs, that, and then the next day we were in Dallas, okay?
Wow.
So we played Dallas, played a TV show. It was an Ed McMahon special, okay? And, oh gosh, there was...
Live at the Coconut Grove? Is that the one?
No, that's not Coconut. This is in Dallas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ed McMahon and, what, that crazy woman, funny comedian. Anyway, there was a bunch of people on it, right? And we were, there was a woman in the audience, we were having a meet and greet and hanging out. And she said, oh, yeah, I'm going to see you guys tonight. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, when you're playing over at this club in Dallas. And I said, what? We're not playing there. I said, well, yeah, it's Bill, the association, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And her manager was with us. He said, what club is that? And so we got the address. And about 5 of us went over to see the association with their manager, who's a New Jersey Italian fellow who you don't want to screw around with. Either him or his family. No. And Pat, he was a wonderful, he lived here in San Marcos for a while. But anyway, so we go there. And these guys are on stage, and they're saying, and they're playing, and they're not bad, They're playing this tune and that tune, and then they'll say, and then we recorded this, and then we recorded that. And Pat wrote him a little note, said, if the name Jim Yes or Jules Alexander, Terry Kirkman, mean anything to you, we're in the audience. And so he just, he had somebody hand it to him, and on stage, right? And the guy opened it up, and you could see the sweat go poop on his forehead.
Oh,
it was amazing. And they did about 1 or 2 more tunes and went off stage, right? And Pat and Terry went back to talk to them. Terry's a big fellow. And I wanted to go too, but they said no because I might actually have gotten physical, But
oh, you were mad.
Yeah, I was not happy about it. Anyway, they came back smiling, and they said, don't worry. They won't be playing anymore, So there's some fake associates, but that happens every now and then. You'll find, for instance, the Coasters. Remember the Coasters from the 50s, Allie and Charlie Brown, all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
Well, when they broke up, they made a deal. There's an East Coasters and a West Coasters, and right in the middle is the Mississippi, and the East Coasters stay east of the Mississippi, and the West Coasters stay west of the Mississippi. And then there's just fake bands out there.
Right.
And then there's some people that buy the names, and they are that band, because they purchased the rights to the names, and they do it.
Yeah.
And instead of an evolution or something like that, where a band will change members, it's there's different things. You run into all of that.
When you're looking at a website, I'm just wondering, how do you know whether or not you're looking at the real association?
If it's
website
a website, it's a pretty good chance. Yeah, there are. But
fans know who's current in the band and things
Yeah, and the website explains it and says, "Oh, here's the pictures now, then, da 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 da," all sort of stuff like that. Facebook page is a little different, but if you got a website, it's probably what's happening.
Right. Yeah, I guess you should always be careful if they're selling merchandise or stuff. You want to make sure you are buying the correct thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So we have another listener who is asking regarding the song "Never My Love." Was there a particular female that was the subject of that song?
I don't know. It was written by Dick and Donna Dreesy, and we never broached that with them. But I think they were just these incredible songwriters. And Don passed away, and that's. That I don't know.
It's a good question. Yeah, I've never seen that written anywhere. Dreesy
and I
wrote
wonder
a couple other songs that the association covered, and "Time for Living" was one of their songs. It was the last, I think it was the last top 40 hit the band had.
Yeah, "Time for Living."
Did anybody else cover their non-association songs?
I have no idea. I don't think so. I don't think they really got big hits off anything.
Yeah,
it's an incredible song. I wonder if it comes from their own relationship.
What's that?
The "Never My Love."
I don't know.
It was inspired by something.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a well-written song. I mean, boy.
There's an interesting story. It's written in one of the liners of one of the. I think I want to say it's the Association anthology of the Rhino compilation that came out in 2002, and I can't remember who was recalling the details, but basically it was. I want to say that there was a demo that Jim's brother Jerry had sort of heard or something, but then when Bones Howe got a hold of it,
as a producer,
there was more of an emphasis on that riff, that da 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 da, and once that riff became emphasized, the arrangement was built around that.
Right.
So the demo may have not even had the riff that prominent. I seem to recall some stories like that, but yeah, the lyrical content I've never seen anything written or
I
heard
haven't either
about that. So that you'll have to go unanswered.
I'll ask. Dick, I'll ask him about that.
Yeah.
That's a funny thing, yeah.
Yeah. Who's that about?
She might not tell you if it was her.
Oh, he'll These guys,
she's the only one left to tell the tale.
Dick and Donna Dreesy. What happened is our record company is that Dick and Don had tried to sell their songs to a record company for us. They were writing this stuff for us. And the record company said, "Okay, these are good songs. Go talk to the guys. Here's the address. Go." And they let us know they were going to come talk. So we're in this house that we rehearse in, and there's a knock on the door, and we opened it up, and here's Dick and Donna Dreesy sitting on the floor like this, one behind the other one with guitars, and they start doing like this, and start going into the living room. We say, "Oh my God." These guys were old vaudevillians, and they had this whole bit going, about it. They would just do stuff like that all the time, just these bits.
How funny.
Yeah, they were really a couple of interesting guys.
So just to help our listeners understand, so Jules was kind of explaining they were sort of sitting in yoga positions back to back, rowing with their
as if
guitars.
They were in an air canoe, Jeez.
You're like, who are these people?
They had the vaudevillian sensibility.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
They were right?
No, they were good
older.
10, 20 years older.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a really cute story. Okay. So you were part of, or did you write the Looking Glass? Was that your song?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you want to tell us about that song?
It was just a tune.
Just
an idea for a tune.
Nothing particularly special about it that you want to tell us?
No, not really.
That's kind of a fan favorite. We have a lot. Our friend Kevin Nolly loves that song a lot. So, I've met lots of people when they'll say that's their favorite association song. It's on the second album, Renaissance. Russ Jaguar sings lead on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like the tune. It's one of my favorite Jules.
No, it's just an idea.
Yeah.
Just an idea.
Just an idea.
Yeah. A lot of songs are like that. Gotta tell you, most of them are.
All right. Well, if you're just joining us now, you're listening to the Rainbow Flower Power Hour with Rebecca Doll, and I have Paul Wilson and Jules Alexander of the Association with me today, talking about the Association, its long history, and what's happening now, because they're still hot. Okay, so stick tight. When we get right back, I will play the Looking Glass for you,
All right.
but stay tuned through this special message.
Hey San Marcos, this is Virginia from Equality Right Now. Tune in every Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. for lively discussions on gender issues and rights, as well as race and relationship equality. Be sure to check out my Facebook page and tune in to kzsm.org, your true community radio.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was etched onto clay tablets, carved into stone, inscribed on parchment, forged into type, converted to bytes and bits and pixels. However the Word enters your consciousness, join us Tuesdays 4 to 6 for Bookmarked, all about books and reading in San Marcos and the world.
This is Rebecca Doll, flower child and host of the Rainbow Flower Power Hour on KZSM San Marcos Community Radio. Folk, psychedelic rock, and pop from the flower power era to current indie rock and a little talk, bringing those ideas of peace and love into our times. Tuesdays, 6 to 8 on kzsm.org. Power to the peaceful. You are listening to a rebroadcast of the Rainbow Flower Power Hour with Rebecca Doll. Catch me live Tuesdays at 6 p.m. right here on KZSM, Community Supported Radio in San Marcos, Texas.
You say that you're gonna go. I suppose you know what's best for you. So go, run with the wind. Taste the sun, feel the spin of worlds unknown to me, but come home to me at your journey's end. I'll be here, I'll be near, anytime you need me, I'll be here. So go, play in jeweled cities, play with pretties, tie ribbons in your hair. And if you find the looking glass, please stay and ask the other side. Who's that standing there? Who's that standing there? What's her name? Does she still wear mourning in her hair? Smile the same, the same. Who's that standing there? Who's that standing there? What's her name? Does she still wear mourning in her hair? Smile the same, the same.
All right, yeah, so that was Looking Glass, which came out in 1966. That was a tune that Jules wrote and the association performed, and it's a crowd pleaser. It's still a favorite. Yeah. So one of the next songs I want to play is Under Branches. So give us the story on that.
Okay, I wrote a song with a number of songs with a fellow named Errol Carmel, who passed away about a year ago. Errol is a sociologist and very academic fellow, not like this guy over here. And
Thank you.
we would, this, it was a nerd with a capital N, but he was very musical. And actually, he was more into the lyrics, but nonetheless, we started some ideas about writing some songs together, and we wrote this tune together, and it was his idea. A lot of the, how do I say it? A lot of the shape of the story was his, okay, but the story itself was mine. It's a very strange thing, but like for instance, there's one lyric. in there about some birds, and I said, well, could we use swallows or sparrows? He said, sparrows, they're psychopomps. I said, what is a psychopomp? And he told me, and I had never heard the term before. So, he would do
what
things
is a
like
psychopomp?
That. Well, a psychopomp is a sparrow, is a mythical a mythical interpretation of something or other. Okay, a sparrow is supposedly a bird that takes people over the river Styx or shows them the way. So, and they said that fits in with his song and da 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 da. So there are a number of psychopomps around. But anyway, so Errol, he really made me mad too. So we couldn't write very much together because he was.
He co-wrote a couple songs with Jim Yester.
Yeah, he wrote with Jim.
Barefoot Gentleman.
The Orange Sunset of Goodbye is. Yeah.
Without getting you in trouble, what made you mad?
Oh, is he? Well.
Can you talk about it?
Yeah, I can. He was a penis.
Oh my.
Okay, simple as that.
Okay.
And there you have it, right here
it
on
is,
KZSM.org.
That's pretty clear. Yes.
It's good that was the PG version.
Yeah, and this might be a good time for me to say that the things that are said in this show by me or my guest are not necessarily the opinions of KZSM or its board of directors.
There you go. You go.
And I appreciate you using the lighter version of the word. Actually,
it's anatomically
correct. But yeah, and I think it's actually okay to say that.
Yeah, it is. That is actually okay. I check it out myself too. But I just, I couldn't.
Okay, are we ready to hear Under Branches?
Yeah.
Does this sound like a good idea? Is everybody ready here? All right, I had it lined up. Here we go.
Yeah, turn it up if you would, so we can hear a little better.
It'll go through the mic.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll do that. All right, so listeners, here we go. This is Under Branches by the Association.
Yeah, there you go.
Where did the man go? Where is the hero? He'd like to see you. Under branches looking into a stream, an ordinary day, and the leaves seem to fall upside down. They're making a crown for the man who wishes to stay, even though he is afraid, overlooking just what he is looking for, an ordinary day, and the sun seems to say welcome home. You don't have to roam anymore. Under branches looking into a stream. Can I look at your beauty? Can I look at your beauty as deep as I can see? As deep as that may be.
Wasn't that lovely? That was really, really nice. So is there anything more you want to tell us about that tune? Let's see, you'd said a minute ago that it doesn't really play live very well.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't work live. There's a lot of tunes like that that just do not work live. They work fine on record. And just the other way around. A lot of songs that really work well when you play them, but on record, they just don't make it.
Right. So I guess you don't perform that one live very often?
No.
Yeah, but you have it on. What album is that tune on?
The name of the album's The Association.
The Association?
It was I think it's the first album as a 7-piece band after Jules came in. Well, they did the Goodbye Columbus soundtrack, but the album's just called The Association. Sometimes they call it the Runes, maybe, or something. But it's
the Square Earth one.
What's it called? Stonehenge.
Yeah, Stonehenge.
Album, because
Stonehenge
the
on
letters
the moon
look like
or something
Stonehenge.
like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's
All right.
1969 release. Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to take a station break here for just a moment. Everybody, please stay tuned. We are more than happy to have you listening to the Rainbow Flower Power Hour here on KZSM, Community Supported Radio in San Marcos, Texas.
Hi, I'm Tony Wilson, host of Roots and Branches on Sunday afternoons from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. here on KZSM.org. I play all kinds of music from Texas and beyond. So join me on Sundays at 2 on KZSM.org, San Marcos' true community radio station.
Experience San Marcos. You could come to the river and jump in, or go downtown and take a run around to see all the local merchants. But if you want to feel San Marcos, you need to tune in on Tuesday nights at 9 to 10 p.m. and listen to Downtown Funk with Sammy the Bull, playing all the top hits, top grooves, obscure funk from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So if you want to get your groove on and reminisce, or if you want to feel like it was back in the day, tune in on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m.
What's up, everybody? This is J-Rod inviting you to join Miggs, Brandon, Sox, and myself for a very special 3-hour edition of Back to the Movies, Wednesday, May 2nd from 4 to 7 p.m. Avengers Infinity War hits theaters April 27th, and we will have our complete breakdown and reaction to this historic and record-breaking movie. Spoiler alert, this will not be a spoiler-free show, so be sure to see the movie before tuning in. In the meantime, check us out on Facebook at Back to the Movies KZSM for up-to-date news and rumors as we gear up for the beginning of the end in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
All right, and we're back. And by the way, that special show with Back to the Movies is tomorrow evening. So I hope if you're interested, you will tune in and catch that. They're really excited about it. And also stay tuned because Sammy the Bull is coming to you next with Downtown Funk. And he'll be getting you up and moving around. So we've just got these guys a little bit longer. So I have Paul Wilson and Jules Alexander from the association in the studio with me tonight. And we're talking about the history of the association and what's going on now. Okay, so I have another song of yours, Jules, that you wrote. It's called Kicking the Gong Around.
Yeah, mine is Steve Carey.
So tell us more about that.
Well, it was an experiment well, Steve is a poet. Well, he passed away. Everybody's passing away. He passed away a long time ago, actually. But Steve was an up-and-coming poet. He was known as the, what did they call him? The John Wayne of poetry, because he was
Who's his famous father?
Steve Carey's famous father was Harry Carey Jr. His father was Harry Carey, the actor.
Not to be confused with Harry Carey, the baseball announcer.
Not the baseball announcer, the actor. Yeah, he's the Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Harry Carey is the judge. That's him. Yeah, but anyway, Steve and I started playing around. He wanted to learn how to write songs. Writing songs and writing poetry is a different world. Right. So we worked on that, and he became very comfortable with writing lyrics. And so these are basically his lyrics.
Right.
And there's a little bit that's mine. But I wanted to play a little more jazzy kind of thing behind it. And it's really kind of simple, because I didn't want to interfere with the words that much. And the words didn't want to interfere with the music that much, which is always a problem to me when you hear people playing music with poetry behind it, or the other way around, playing poetry with music behind it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But anyway, so that's what it is. And kicking the gong around is an old 1930s term that Hoagie Carmichael used in a song also. And it means shooting dope. That's what it means.
Really?
Yeah, listen to the lyrics to it. There's a man on the corner. He's a walking street corner, standing out on the porch. It's about the evils of nasty stuff.
Yeah, and where it can take you.
Yeah.
It's not so pleasant, and you've lost friends that way.
Yeah, sure have.
Yeah,
a lot of them.
And it's unfortunately we have an epidemic going on right now too, with regards to heroin. And other pharmaceutical drugs that are more heavy.
Yeah, there's really bad drugs, They aren't just go have fun, watch TV and laugh,
Right.
It ain't about that.
Right, it's serious business.
Yeah.
I think it's much better to get high off of being happy.
Yeah, that's
or maybe do something kind for somebody. That'll make you feel so good.
Yeah, it really will.
Yeah, it really does. Okay, so is there anything you want to tell us about that song before we play it?
No, that's about it. That's what it is about.
What do you have to say, Paul?
It's probably my favorite song that Jules has written, but it's got this interesting. I don't know. Somebody had written something about Manhattan Transfer. Kind of, there's a vocal similarity, but there's this interesting kind of call and response vocal thing going on at the end, and the song just builds. There's this the keyboard part and the guitar riff and the bass part, they're all doing different things, and it really melds well together. So this is a great song,
and it's really unusual.
Yes, it is. But the thing is, it's so simple too. It's a simple tune.
Is it? It's really simple.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
All right. Well, let's hear it. This is "Kicking the Gong Around" by the Association.
Steps back, then count how far you come. Is this what they mean when they say just to keep on trucking along? Or is this what they say when they mean what they said when they meant, hey boy, move on? Move on! Get it off, get it up, and then bring it all back down. Brush your feet or comb your hair, stand on your head and run it all around. There's a man you gotta see over on the south side if you wanna keep kicking that gong around.
chance to hear a certain ringing in the ear, you're gonna know who's not at your door. Big wind in the kitchen, or rain in the hall, he's a walking street corner waiting out on the porch. Tie yourself to a bag of tag, moving up that gong knees and kicking around some more now. Kick!
And that was truly astounding. So, kicking the gong around.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was just saying, like, I don't understand why it didn't make the Billboard charts, but perhaps it wasn't commercial enough to hit there at that time. I think. What were you saying, Paul? The Beatles? I mean, not the Eagles were.
I mean, this was 1972 when that album "Waterbeds in Trinidad" came out. You got to start out the album title, but. You know, by that time, it was the Eagles and you know, the music. The 60s were over by 72.
Right.
Both mathematically and culturally. So
right.
You know, so yeah, the Eagles were the next big thing, and so yeah. But the band, you know, toured. You know, the band's success after the hits was in their touring, and
continuously.
They were always a draw, even throughout the 70s.
So we're down to just a few minutes. Would you like to tell us, Jules, the story about Waterbeds in Trinidad?
Oh,
how
well,
that
that
name
was the
came
title
about?
for an album we did, and what happened? The drummer, myself and Russ Jaguar used to live in this 3-story apartment as a hill hanger out in California, and there were these duplexes, one by the other. Well, we met the guys next door, and a real bunch of hard partying, cool dudes. And one of the guys was from Trinidad, you know, and Ted, our drummer, met him, and they became very close friends. And Ted wanted to go down and visit him, but he didn't want to pay for a plane flight. So this was when waterbeds were just coming out, right? So Ted decided, I want to start a business. I want to take waterbeds to Trinidad. Said, we don't have any down there. So he was able to write off the entire trip, but because he was taking waterbeds to Trinidad. That was the real thing. That was really good.
Well, it's a great name for an album, you know.
Yeah, it worked.
It really does. Well, Jules Alexander and Paul Wilson, it's been such a pleasure having you on the Rainbow Flower Power Hour, and thank you for listening, beautiful people. This has been the Rainbow Flower Power Hour. I am Rebecca Doll, and I'll be back with you again next Tuesday at 6 on KZSM, Community Radio in San Marcos, Texas. And as we leave, I want you to know you are my favorite color of the rainbow. I love you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
You got a great voice. Yeah. Boy, man.
Thank you.
Love it. I'm going, ooh.
Imagine me and you, I do. I think about you day and night. It's only right to think about the girl you love and hold her tight. So happy together. If I should call you up, invest a dime, and you say you belong to me, and ease my mind. Imagine how the world could be so very fine, so happy together. I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me, baby, the skies will be blue for all my life. Me and you and me, no matter how they toss the dice, it had to be. The only one for me is you, and you for me, so happy together. I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me, baby, the skies will be blue for all my life. Me and you and me, no matter how they toss the dice, it had to be. The only one for me is you, and you for me, so happy together. of dice, it had to be. The only one for me is you, and you for me. So happy together, so happy together. And how is the weather?